The stars looked the same as always through the view screen of the patrol ship Eagle. Commander Lisa Martinez tapped her fingers on the arm of her chair. Another quiet day guarding the outer edges of the solar system. Humans had spread to Mars, Venus, and even the moons of Jupiter and Saturn in the last century, but they remained alone in the universe. Or so they thought. Lisa looked at her crew. John Miller monitored the radar systems. Paul Garcia checked the ship's engines. Susan Lee plotted their course through the rings of Neptune. All of them were bored but professional. "Picking up something strange, Commander," John said suddenly. His eyes narrowed at the screen. "Energy signature I've never seen before. About 50,000 miles off our port side." Lisa sat up straight. "Natural phenomenon?" "No, ma'am, it's moving and it's trying to hide." The bridge went silent. For generations, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, on a routine patrol near Neptune, they might have their answer. "Battle stations," Lisa ordered calmly. Warning lights flashed across the ship as crew members raced to their positions. "Susan, take us closer, carefully." As the Eagle approached, they saw it. A sleek vessel about half their size, its hull made of a shimmering material that seemed to bend light around it. It was damaged, venting some kind of blue plasma into space. "They're in trouble," Paul said, checking his readings. "That leak looks bad." Lisa faced a choice that would change human history: follow protocol and call for backup, or help what was clearly an alien ship in distress. "Open a channel," she decided. "All frequencies, basic mathematical sequence, and get Dr. Alan Wright up here. If they respond, we'll need his linguistics expertise." Minutes passed as the Eagle broadcast simple number sequences, the universal language of mathematics. Then their speakers crackled. The sound that came through wasn't like any language they had heard before. It was a series of clicks, hums, and trills that seemed impossible for a human throat to make. Dr. Wright arrived on the bridge, his eyes wide with excitement. "This is it," he whispered. "First contact." The alien transmission continued. More. Urgent now. The ship's plasma leak was growing worse. "We need to help them," Lisa decided, regardless of protocol. "Susan, bring us alongside. Paul, prepare the rescue shuttle. John, keep weapons hot, just in case." The crew moved with purpose, their years of training overcoming their shock. As the Eagle maneuvered closer, they got their first clear look at the alien vessel's design. Elegant, with flowing lines unlike the boxy, practical ships humans built. When the rescue shuttle launched, everyone held their breath. Would the aliens see it as help or an attack? The shuttle crew, led by Lieutenant Ben Foster, approached carefully. Through the shuttle's cameras, the bridge crew watched as the alien ship's airlock opened. And then they saw them. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall, with slender bodies covered in iridescent scales. They had forearms and large faceted eyes that reflected light like gemstones. They wore fitted uniforms with symbols and markings that suggested rank and position. "My God," Dr. Wright whispered. One alien stepped forward. It looked injured, holding one of its forearms against its chest. Lieutenant Foster stepped forward too, his hands open in the universal gesture of peace. What happened next surprised everyone. The alien mirrored the gesture, raising its 3 uninjured hands. "Palms out. They understand," Dr. Wright said. "They're intelligent enough to recognize a peaceful greeting." The rescue went smoothly. 3 injured aliens were brought aboard the Eagle and taken to the medical bay. Their ship was too damaged to save, but the Eagle's tractor beams secured it for later study. In the medical bay, Dr. Nancy Taylor worked carefully to treat injuries she barely understood. The aliens communicated through a small device that translated their clicks and hums into broken, simple English. "Empire ship damaged," one alien explained. Its name, as near as they could pronounce it, was Krex. "Hiding. Not allowed near primitive. Worlds." "Primitive?" Lisa asked, standing by the medical bed. "You mean Earth?" "Humans," Krex confirmed. "Listed as pre-spaceflight species. Category 7. Not ready." Lisa exchanged looks with Dr. Wright. But we've been traveling through our solar system for over a century. The alien's gemstone eyes widened. Impossible. Records say humans primitive. Earth quarantined region. As Dr. Taylor worked, more was revealed. These aliens served something called the Galactic Empire, a massive coalition of thousands of species that controlled most of the galaxy. Earth had been classified as a primitive world and placed under quarantine. No contact was allowed until humans developed faster than light travel, which Empire records indicated would take at least another 500 years. But we're close, Dr. Wright explained to Krex. Our scientists have been testing warp theory for decades. We might achieve it within 20 years. Krex seemed troubled. Not possible. Human development projections absolute. Empire calculations. Perfect. Apparently not, Lisa said with a small smile. As the Eagle changed course for Earth, carrying the alien visitors and the news that would forever change humanity, Krex used his communication device to send a message to his superiors. The humans couldn't read the alien text, but they understood this was first contact for both sides. Earth needed to know they weren't alone, and apparently, the Empire needed to know they weren't all-knowing. 3 days later, as the Eagle approached Earth orbit, Lisa received a transmission from Earth Defense Command. Commander Martinez, Admiral Steve Rogers said, his face grim on the view screen. Our long-range sensors have detected a fleet of ships entering the solar system. Very large ships. They're not responding to hails, and they're moving fast. Lisa looked at Krex, who had been allowed limited movement around the ship under guard. The Empire has come, the alien said simply. They do not believe your existence is possible. They think you are a trick or a trap. They have come to investigate. With weapons. Lisa took a deep breath and straightened her uniform. Humanity's first. Diplomatic crisis had arrived sooner than anyone expected, and the future of Earth would depend on what happened next. Admiral Steve Rogers stood in Earth Defense Command's main control room. The massive screens showed 50 large ships entering the solar system. They moved in perfect formation, their design similar to the damaged ship Commander Martinez had found. How long until they reach Earth? He asked. 3 days at their current speed, replied Director Kate Brown. She ran the intelligence division and had been working non-stop since the Eagle's discovery. They're now passing Pluto's orbit. Steve nodded grimly. 3 days to prepare for possible first contact with an alien empire that might see humans as a threat. He turned to the group gathered around the command table. What do we know about these aliens so far? Dr. Alan Wright, who had returned to Earth ahead of the Eagle on a fast transport, answered. They call themselves the Zentari. They're part of something called the Galactic Empire, which includes thousands of species. They've been watching Earth for centuries but classified us as primitive. According to Krex, they're surprised we have space travel at all. And why would that make them send a battle fleet? Steve asked. Kate stepped forward. They don't believe we developed on our own. Their records say humans shouldn't have space travel for another 500 years. They think we might be another alien species pretending to be human, or that we stole technology, which means they see us as a threat, Steve concluded. The room fell silent. Humanity had built a respectable fleet over the years, 300 ships of various sizes to patrol the solar system and protect Earth's colonies. But the alien ships were each larger than anything humans had built, and there was no telling what weapons they had. What about our guest? Steve asked. Krex has been helpful, Dr. Wright said. He's shocked by our level of technology, especially our computers and artificial intelligence. He says the Empire banned certain types of AI research thousands of years ago after some kind of war. Steve looked out the window at the blue sky over Washington. How many humans had dreamed of this moment? First contact with an advanced alien civilization, but not like this. Not with a fleet that might have come to attack. We need to show strength, he decided, but also wisdom. Gather our fleet at Mars orbit, all 300 ships, and prepare our message of peace. The next 2 days were a blur of activity. Ships from all over the solar system rushed to Mars. Scientists worked with Krex to improve communication. Military leaders prepared defense plans. Meanwhile, the Eagle finally reached Earth. Commander Lisa Martinez was immediately brought to Defense Command. "You made the right call," Steve told her after she explained her decision to help the aliens. "If you had followed protocol and waited, we might have lost our chance to learn about them before they arrived." Lisa nodded, relieved. "What's the plan, Admiral?" "You're going to lead our communication team," he explained. "You've spent the most time with the aliens. Krex respects you. When the fleet arrives, we'll need that. Across the solar system, on..." The lead ship of the approaching fleet, Commander Zarn, stared at the reports with disbelief. Long-range scans showed hundreds of ships gathered near Mars. Ships that shouldn't exist. "It's impossible," he said to his science officer, Tella. "Humans are a Category 7 species. They should barely have basic rockets." "Yet the scans don't lie," Tella replied. "Those are ships with advanced propulsion and energy signatures, and there are many of them." Zarn's four hands clenched nervously. His mission was supposed to be simple: investigate the distress call from Krex's scout ship and determine if another Empire species was violating the quarantine around Earth. Perhaps punish some low-level rule breakers. Instead, he faced what looked like a developed spacefaring civilization that had somehow hidden from Imperial notice. The Emperor would not be pleased. "Send the demand," he ordered. "Tell these humans to surrender Krex and any Imperial technology they may have stolen. Tell them the Empire claims authority over this system, and they must submit to inspection." The message traveled across space to the waiting human fleet. In the command ship Freedom, Admiral Steve Rogers read it with his officers. "They think we stole their technology," Lisa said. "They can't believe we developed it ourselves." Steve nodded. "Then we need to show them who we really are, prepare our response, and move the fleet into defensive position." The human ships spread out in a new formation, not aggressive, but ready. Their weapons remained powered down, but shields were up. Lisa worked with Dr. Wright and communications experts to craft a message. It was sent in both English and the Zentari language thanks to Krex's help. "People of the Galactic Empire," the pawing message began. "We are humanity of Earth. We have rescued your scout crew who will be returned to you unharmed. We have not stolen technology or violated your laws. We developed space travel through our own efforts and discoveries. We seek peace and friendship with all species, but we will defend our home if necessary. We invite you to send representatives to meet with us and see the truth for yourselves." On his ship, Commander Zarn watched a recording that came with the human message. It showed the history of human space travel, from early rockets to modern ships. It showed human cities and farms and schools. It showed Krex being treated well. "This changes the calculation," Tella said quietly. "If they developed independently." "Then the Empire's records are wrong," Zarn finished. "And that has never happened before." He made his decision. "Prepare a shuttle. I will meet these humans, myself, but keep weapons locked on their fleet. If this is a trap, we will be ready." Back on the Freedom, Admiral Rogers received the response. "They're sending a delegation to meet with us," he told his officers. "This is our chance to avoid conflict." Lisa felt the weight of the moment. What if we can't convince them? Steve looked at the tactical display. The Empire ships had moved into an attack formation. "Then we show them that humans aren't easy to conquer. But let's hope it doesn't come to that." The Imperial shuttle departed from Zarn's ship, heading toward the Freedom. The future of Earth hung in the balance of the meeting to come. The Imperial shuttle docked with the Freedom. Admiral Steve Rogers waited in the meeting room with Commander Lisa Martinez, Dr. Alan Wright, and Director Kate Brown. Security officers stood nearby, alert, but not threatening. The door opened. "Commander." Zarn entered first, followed by Science Officer Tella and two guards. The aliens moved with fluid grace despite their 7-foot height. Their scaled skin shimmered under the lights. "Welcome to the Freedom," Steve said, standing tall. "I am Admiral Rogers of Earth Defense Command." Zarn studied the humans with gem-like eyes. I am Commander Zarn of the Imperial Fleet. His voice came through a translator device on his uniform. We have many questions. As do we, Steve replied. Please sit. The meeting began stiffly. Zarn demanded to know how humans had developed space travel ahead of schedule. He accused them of hiding from Imperial censors. He questioned their right to build a fleet. Lisa watched the Imperial commander closely. Behind his formal words, she sensed confusion and worry, not anger. We didn't know you existed until 3 days ago, she said, when Zarn paused. We weren't hiding. We were just living our lives. Tella, the science officer, leaned forward. Impossible. Our records are perfect. Human development was calculated precisely. You should not have left your planet for another 200 years. You should not have built this fleet for another 500. Dr. Wright spread out images on the table, old photographs showing the history of human space travel. We began with simple rockets, he explained. Then space stations. Then colonies. On the Moon and Mars. We've been traveling through our solar system for generations. Zarn's 4 hands twitched with agitation. The quarantine beacons should have prevented this. They were designed to slow technological growth in this sector. The humans exchanged shocked glances. You've been deliberately holding us back? Kate asked, her voice tight with anger. Not you specifically, Tella explained. This sector of space was marked for controlled development after the AI wars. The Emperor decreed that all emerging species here would develop according to the proper path. Steve's expression hardened. Yet we developed anyway. Yes, Zarn said. This is why we came with Battlefleet. We thought another Empire species had broken quarantine, was interfering with your world. But now, he looked troubled. Now I don't know what to think. The meeting continued for hours. The humans explained their history. The Imperials explained the structure of galactic society. Thousands of worlds united under Emperor Valkon, guided by the proper path of development. What happens now? Steve asked finally. Will you attack us for developing in our own way? Before Zarn could answer, alarms blared through the ship. Admiral! A voice called over the comm system. 3 Imperial ships have broken formation. They're powering weapons. Zarn looked as surprised as the humans. He barked orders into his communicator, in his native language. Captain Revik, he explained angrily. He believes this meeting is a trap. He's taking action without orders. On the tactical screen, they watched 3 Imperial ships move toward the human fleet. Energy readings spiked as weapons charged. Defensive positions, Steve ordered. Shields. Up but do not fire unless fired upon. The human ships moved with surprising speed, forming a protective screen between Earth and the approaching Imperial vessels. Order them to stand down, Lisa urged Zarn. We don't want this fight. Zarn tried, but Captain Revik had stopped responding to commands. He believes he's protecting the Empire, Tella said quietly, by destroying the human anomaly. The first, Imperial shots lanced across space, striking the shields of 2 human ships. The shields flared bright but held. Return fire, Steve ordered grimly. Targeted disabling shots only. We want to stop them, not destroy them. What happened next shocked even Zarn. The human ships moved with incredible coordination, their formation shifting like a living thing. Their return fire was precise, targeting weapons and engines, avoiding crew areas. This is impossible, Tella whispered, watching the tactical display. Their targeting systems are better than yours, Kate finished. We developed our own path, remember? Captain Revik's ships fired again, more desperately now. 1 human vessel took a direct hit, its shields failing. But before the Imperials could press their advantage, 5 other human ships surrounded their wounded ally, their combined shields creating a protective bubble. Then the human counterattack began, in earnest. Precision beams lanced out, slicing through the Imperial ship's weapon systems. Small, fast fighter craft launched from the human carriers, swarming the larger Imperial vessels like angry bees. Remarkable, Zarn said, watching the battle unfold. Your ships are smaller, but faster. Your weapons less powerful, but more precise. Within 20 minutes, it was over. Captain Revik's 3 ships floated dead in space, their engines and weapons disabled, but life support intact. The rest of the Imperial fleet had not joined the fight, following Zarn's orders to hold position. You could have destroyed them, Zarn noted. Why didn't you? That's not who we are, Steve replied simply. We defend, we don't conquer. The Imperial commander was silent for a long moment. Then he made a formal gesture with his 4 hands. Admiral Rogers, I must report this incident to the Emperor. The human question is beyond my authority now. What will you recommend? Lisa asked. The truth, Zarn said, that humans have developed in ways our records said was impossible. That you fight with skill but show mercy. That perhaps the proper path is not the only path. After the meeting, as the Imperial shuttle returned to its ship, the humans gathered in the command center. Is this over? Kate asked. Steve shook his head. No, this was just the beginning. The Empire now knows we exist. They know we developed outside their control. Some will see that as a threat. And others might see it as an opportunity, Lisa suggested. A chance to learn new things, new ways. Either way, Steve said, looking at the Imperial fleet on the view screen, the galaxy just got a lot more complicated, and humanity needs to be ready. Across the vastness of space, urgent messages raced toward the Imperial capital. The news spread from ship to ship, world to world. The impossible had happened. A species had broken free of the proper path. Humans had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would be the same again. 2 weeks passed since the battle near Mars. The Imperial fleet remained in orbit around Jupiter, a respectful distance from Earth. Daily communications continued between Admiral Rogers and Commander Zarn, while they waited for a response from the Emperor. On Earth, life changed forever. News of alien contact spread worldwide. Some people panicked, but most reacted with wonder and curiosity. Scientists studied the technology from Krex's damaged ship. Military leaders prepared defense plans. Political leaders debated how to approach this new galactic reality. In her lab beneath Washington, Dr. Nancy Taylor worked with a team examining Imperial technology. She called Admiral Rogers when they made a breakthrough. The quarantine beacons, she explained, pointing to her computer screen. We found references to them in the ship's database. They orbit beyond Pluto. They've been there for thousands of years. What do they do exactly? Steve asked. They send signals that subtly interfere with certain types of technological development, specifically faster than light travel and some forms of artificial intelligence. But we developed AI anyway, Steve noted. Nancy nodded excitedly. Because we took a different approach. The beacons were designed to block the proper path of development, the way the Empire expected us to grow. But humans explored alternative methods. Does that mean our ships might actually be more advanced than theirs in some ways? Steve wondered. Different, not necessarily better, Nancy corrected. But yes, our AI systems are unlike anything in their records, and our approach to space travel is entirely novel to them. The Admiral's communicator beeped. Rogers here. Admiral, Lisa's voice came through. The Imperial capital ship just received a transmission. Zarn is requesting a meeting. He says the Emperor has responded. 1 hour later, the command team gathered again. Zarn arrived with Tella and several new Imperial officials who had traveled from the capital ship. The Emperor has considered the human question, Zarn announced formally. His decision is complex. The room tensed. This was the moment that would decide Earth's future. First, Zarn continued, the quarantine beacons will be removed. They were placed illegally, without Earth's knowledge or consent. Sighs of relief came from the humans. Second, Earth is recognized as an independent system, not subject to Imperial control. More tension left the room. Earth would remain free. However, Zarn's tone grew more serious. Humans will not be permitted to expand beyond your solar system until Imperial scientists have studied your technology and development path. That's not independence, Kate objected. That's just a larger prison. Zarn's expression was unreadable. There is concern about human expansion, Your development was unexpected. Some Imperial leaders fear what other surprises you might bring. The meeting grew heated. Humans argued for complete freedom. Imperials insisted on caution. Finally, Steve raised his hand for silence. Commander Zarn, we understand the Empire's concerns, but restrictions on our movement will never be acceptable. To Earth, instead, let me propose a compromise. The Admiral outlined a new plan. Joint research projects between human and Imperial scientists, cultural exchanges, and gradual human expansion under mutual observation, not control. We don't want to disrupt your empire, Steve explained. But we won't be confined either. Let's learn from each other instead. Zarn consulted with his team in their native language. The discussion seemed intense. Finally, he turned back to the humans. I will present your proposal to the Emperor, but I must warn you, there are factions in the Empire who see humans as a threat that must be contained. They will not accept compromise easily. Then we'll need to convince them otherwise, Lisa said. After the Imperials left, the human team remained to discuss their situation. Do you think the Emperor will agree? Kate asked. He might, Steve replied. But Zarn is right. Some in the Empire will resist. We should prepare for all possibilities. On the Imperial capital ship, Zarn faced his own challenges. Fleet Admiral Vorex had arrived from the Imperial capital, bringing hardline views about the human situation. These humans are dangerous, Vorex insisted, his scales darkening with anger. They developed outside our models. They ignored the proper path. If other species learn of this, it could destabilize the entire empire. They defended themselves effectively but showed restraint, Zarn countered. That suggests wisdom, not danger. You've been contaminated by their influence, Vorex hissed. The Emperor was too lenient. These humans should be isolated completely or brought under direct control. Vorex revealed his true purpose. He had brought reinforcements, 200, more ships hiding beyond Saturn. They would arrive in 3 days. The humans will accept Imperial authority, Vorex declared, or they will face consequences. Zarn was torn between duty and his growing respect for humans. That night, he made a difficult decision. He sent a coded warning to Admiral Rogers about the approaching fleet. When Steve received the message, he called an emergency meeting. Earth had 3 days to prepare for a possible attack by a fleet nearly 3 times larger than the first. Can we win against so many ships? Lisa asked. In a direct battle? No, Steve admitted. But we don't need to win. We just need to show them that conquering Earth would cost too much. The next 3 days saw frantic preparation. Every ship in the human fleet was mobilized. New weapons were installed. Defensive positions were established throughout the solar system. Dr. Nancy Taylor worked with her team on a special project, analyzing the Imperial communication systems for vulnerabilities. If they couldn't match Imperial firepower, perhaps they could disrupt their coordination. As the deadline approached, Steve addressed the captains of Earth's fleet from the Bridge of the Freedom. We face a force that outnumbers us, he said. But we have advantages they don't expect. We're fighting for our home. We're using technology they don't understand. And most importantly, we're human, adaptable, creative, and determined. The captains nodded, resolute despite their fear. Remember, Steve concluded, we don't need to destroy them. We need to show them that humans are not easily conquered. If we can damage their fleet enough, the Empire might decide we're not worth the cost. The human fleet moved into position near Earth, ready to face the greatest threat humanity had ever known. On the view screens, hundreds of Imperial ships appeared from behind Saturn, moving in perfect formation toward Earth. The final confrontation was about to begin. The Imperial fleet filled the view screens of the Freedom. 200 large ships joined the 50 already present. Their formation was perfect, like a wall of metal advancing toward Earth. All ships report ready, Admiral, Lisa said, her voice steady despite the odds they faced. Steve nodded. Begin Operation Scattered Light. The human fleet, which had been gathered protectively around Earth, suddenly split apart. Instead of facing the Imperial Armada directly, the 300 human ships dispersed in all directions, moving at high speed. On the Imperial command ship, Fleet Admiral Vorex watched with confusion. They're running away, he said with contempt. Commander Zarn wasn't so sure. Spread out our sensors, watch for tricks. The human ships continued their seemingly random movements. Then small groups began quick, coordinated attacks against the edges of the Imperial formation. They would strike quickly, then disappear again into the vastness of space. Annoying insects, Vorex growled. Press forward toward Earth. Once we control their homeworld, these attacks will stop. The main Imperial fleet continued toward Earth while smaller groups broke off to chase the human ships. This was exactly what Admiral Rogers had planned. They're splitting their forces, he told his officers. Now, Dr. Taylor. In her lab, Nancy activated the system she had developed. It targeted the Imperial communication networks with precisely calculated interference. Suddenly, Imperial ships could only communicate with those nearest to them, not with their command center. Confusion spread through the Imperial fleet. Without central coordination, each captain had to make decisions alone. The elegant formation began to break apart. Phase 2, Steve ordered. The human ships changed tactics. Now they struck in larger groups, targeting isolated Imperial vessels. Their attacks were precise, disabling weapons and engines without destroying ships when possible. On the Imperial command ship, Vorex raged as reports of disabled ships came in one after another. How are they coordinating these attacks? He demanded. Our ships can't track them. Human ships are smaller and faster, Zarn explained, and their technology is different from ours. Our sensors aren't designed to track their movement patterns. I don't care about excuses. Launch all fighters. Thousands of small Imperial fighter craft poured out from the larger ships. These faster vessels might be able to match the humans' speed. Steve watched the new development with concern. They're adapting. Activate the defense grid. Throughout the solar system, hidden platforms came to life. Earth had been preparing defenses since learning about the Empire. These platforms created energy fields that affected Imperial sensors and weapons. The Imperial fighters flew into these fields and immediately began experiencing problems. Their targeting systems failed. Their engines sputtered. Many drifted helplessly. In space, impossible, Vorex shouted as more reports of failures came in. What is this trickery? Zarn studied the data carefully. They're using the unique properties of their system's radiation belts. They've created weapons we've never seen before. 5 hours into the battle, the Imperial fleet was in disarray. 40 ships had been disabled completely. Hundreds of fighters drifted uselessly in space. The remaining ships had pulled back to regroup. On the Freedom, the mood was cautious but hopeful. The human fleet had suffered losses too, 20 ships destroyed and 30 damaged. But they had performed better than anyone had expected. Admiral, Lisa reported, Commander Zarn is requesting to speak with you privately. When Zarn's image appeared on the secure channel, Steve was surprised to see the alien look troubled. Admiral Rogers, Zarn said quietly, Vorex is planning a final attack. He will target your major cities with long-range weapons. He believes if he threatens your civilian population, you will surrender. That would be a terrible mistake, Steve replied grimly. I agree. That is why I am telling you this. I believe in the Empire's ideals of peace and progress, not whatever Vorex represents. Steve thanked him for the warning. After the communication ended, he called his officers together. We need to end this now, he told them. Vorex won't stop and we can't keep fighting indefinitely. What's the plan? Lisa asked. We're going to take out their command ship, Steve said. Without Vorex, the more reasonable voices in their fleet might prevail. The Freedom and 20 of Earth's best ships gathered for the mission. They would need to break through the Imperial defenses surrounding Vorex's command ship. Dr. Nancy Taylor provided one final edge. A program that would briefly disrupt the Imperial shields based on what they had learned from studying Krex's ship. The attack was timed perfectly. As Vorex prepared his assault on Earth's cities, the human strike team appeared suddenly near his command ship. Taylor's program worked. For 30 critical seconds, the Imperial shields flickered. In those seconds, precision strikes from the human ships disabled the command ship's main weapons and engines. The massive vessel drifted, powerless but intact. Commander, Zarn seized the moment. With Vorex unable to give orders, Zarn contacted the Imperial captains. The human defense has proven stronger than we anticipated, he told them. They have disabled our command ship without destroying it. They have shown restraint throughout this conflict. I am assuming temporary command and ordering all ships to cease hostilities. One by one, the Imperial captains acknowledged his orders. The attack on Earth was cancelled. The battle was over. 2 days later, Admiral Rogers met with Zarn aboard a neutral vessel. Vorex had been confined to quarters, his authority suspended pending an Imperial investigation. The Emperor has sent new instructions, Zarn explained. He is intrigued by humanity's unique development. He wishes to establish proper diplomatic relations. No more talk of controlling our expansion, Steve asked. The battle has proven that would be impractical, Zarn said with what might have been a smile. Instead, the Emperor proposes mutual cooperation. Humans will be granted full independent status within galactic society. In the months that followed, much changed for humanity. Earth sent its first ambassadors to the imperial capital. Cultural exchanges began. Scientists from both civilizations shared knowledge and made new discoveries together. Some in the Empire still viewed humans with suspicion. Others saw them as an opportunity for growth and change. As for humans, they looked to the stars with new understanding. They were not alone, and they had earned their place among the galactic community. Commander Lisa Martinez, whose decision to rescue Krex had started it all, became Earth's first ambassador to the Empire. On her first day at the Imperial capital, she stood before the Emperor himself. "Welcome, Ambassador Martinez," the Emperor said. "Your species has surprised us all. We look forward to learning what other surprises humans might bring to our galaxy." Lisa smiled. "That's one thing you can count on with humans, Your Majesty. We're full of surprises.